Hey everybody, T-Ham141 here, and I have Remy from Ren's Family Farm and Darren from
Hello.
Thorhaven Farm. And tonight we're going to be talking about bug in or bug out or dig in. And Darren had a video this morning that really it really hit me as really something we need to go over as we are literally watching all these warnings that homesteaders and preppers and stuff have been saying. I mean, in California, they got over $7 a gallon for gas. Here, we're all time highs, um, and it just hit me that this is something that we need to. Hey, Lewis, how's it going? Um, that we need to discuss. Um, we need to dive in as deep as we can. Um, I remember doing videos and watching videos on bug out bags and everything else, and I'm like, man, there's just no way to take everything. And then Darren echoed that in his video this morning. Um, yeah, I was waiting for him to strap a Highland cow, one of his Highland cows, on his back and trudge off through the snow that was up to about what, your neck.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe if I put a saddle on it and then, we could go from there. But
There you go. He's gonna Paul Bunyan it. Um, I gotta turn my cell phones. Always, always, always.
You're popular.
No, not so much. Only with the people who want to sell me a warranty. Um, yes, yes, I got your Canadian buddies up on a panel. These are the real deal, man. These are the guys that I look up to, and learn a lot from.
real
And
deal. You make it sound like official or something.
well, yeah, yeah, dude, you got to realize, man, you have a commercial out, okay? And guys, if you haven't seen, if you're watching this on the replay and you haven't seen Thorhaven Farms commercial, go to his channel and watch it. It is awesome. I mean, I was just like, I want one.
Yeah. Adventures on the Homestead did an amazing job with that for us.
Um,
Yeah, and I saw the process of how he did it, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
yeah, it just, I mean, you got the little girl and the whole Viking theme behind it. Yeah, that is awesome. Um, and then Remy, he's going to get a 2,000 pound moose, or is 2,000 pounds light or heavy for a moose?
Oh, it's very heavy.
It's very heavy.
I
But he's
got.
going to win Shed Wars.
I don't know if I'm gonna win, but I'm gonna do my best to be up there. It would have been a nice season last year without really trying hard because of the two moose license we got, but we don't get moose license every year. It's a draw here, and since we got one last year, we got two last year. Chances are we won't get any for like another 5, 6, 7 years. It's gonna be tougher. I have to go bear hunting now.
Oh, yay.
I might check a couple of Darren's video and go hunt one of his Highland cow.
I got a perfect tree stand setting up there. Good shot and
Ooh.
everything.
Awesome.
I went hunting bear once, but it was way too cold. I had to put some clothes on. Okay, so bug out or dig in. My plan has always been to dig in. I've got 20 acres here, and it's mostly woodland. Well, except for the main core of the homestead, and I've got pretty much everything I need except the stuff that I have to buy from a store right now. I would have to leave the homestead for milk, which I do have substantial powdered milk. But I've got Amish that I can cut right through the woods and get to their farm. And if they don't shoot me, then But you brought up this morning neighbors too. Neighbors are important.
Yep.
When I was in Port Leyden, me and my friend Matt and my brother and all, we knew, okay, if something goes down, we can shut off our. It was like a rural village. You had our road, and then you have a bunch of woods and the river, and then you have a bunch of woods behind us and the Moose River. We were kind of on three sides with water, but we could shut off our road if we needed, and that and control who comes in and who goes out. And I think that we have some other preppers in the area, but neighbors are really important.
Yeah.
Right now, I've got some neighbors, Pete and Wendy. They're I just up the road about a quarter of a mile, and they're both. I think he's a nurse and she is a nurse's aide, or vice versa, which will come in handy. But what are some challenges you guys would see in staying put?
Well, the first thing you just said, medical services, any tiny little thing. Like, I mean, if you have to stay home, or even if you have to get out, eventually, even just a tiny little band aid, you're going to run out of them, especially with kids. They put a band aid on every little scratch they have. And as crazy as it may seem, a band aid can probably save your life, because if you get an injury, as small as it can be, it can get infected. It can go bad very fast. So you need to know what you're doing. You need to be able to take care of it. There are some ways you can take care of it in the woods. I've seen a video. Who was it? Ecocentric did a video where he would take spruce sap, I think it was, and he would put that on his injury, and would protect it and act as a antibiotic kind of, and heal the wound. But you need to know that kind of stuff. And then if you break your leg, if you fall on a rock, and you have this big open wound, what do? You need to know that kind of stuff. And it's not everyone that knows how to take care of it. And even if you know how to take care of it, you need the equipment to do it. And it's not everyone that has a first aid kit. And I mean, you just said it. Darren showed it this morning. You have to think about so many things. There's so many, like first aid kit, food, a knife, a hatchet maybe, or an axe to cut the wood. You might need a hammer. You might need nails, or you might need ropes, especially ropes. If you want to build a shelter at some point, you might want to find a way to defend yourself, because obviously, if shit hit the fan, people are going to come after your stuff. Even if you have livestock, even if you have animals, people are going to come after it because they want to survive. So you have to think about all that kind of stuff. And at what point do you draw the line? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, when it comes to steal your stuff, is it the end of the world yet? Or,
Yeah.
it will probably be the hardest part, I think, because as we've seen, like, I mean, I know Walking Dead is just a show, but at some point, people are killing each other over some of the reserve stuff that's left.
Yeah.
And it would probably happen.
Yeah. And that's I think that's where they start losing me in a lot of these end time scenarios, SHTF type stuff, is when all of a sudden they go from, like on Walking Dead, they were fighting zombies. They had an enemy, they were fighting it. And now all of a sudden the humans start turning on humans, battling for resources. I can understand battling for territory and control. It's human nature, but I would rather get people together and work together. That community is so important. And then it's like you said with the first aid. If you break your leg, okay, I know first aid, but I got thinking, man, Wendy's not here anymore. I need to sharpen up on my self aid and be able. How do I set my leg if I break my shin bone?
Yep.
That's not going to be pretty.
So you need a lot of knowledge for sure. You need to know how to grow your food. You need to know how to butcher an animal. You need to know how to preserve as much food as you can, because all those things are going to come in handy when time comes. And I'm not saying that it will. We all hope that it doesn't, but
Right.
it could happen any day. Anything could happen.
Right. I'm not a doomsday type person. I know things are going to get bad. Remy and I were just talking. I am a Christian, and I believe the Bible, and things are going to get bad, and we're starting to see where it's getting hard, and there's not a whole lot of help right now. The governor of California, to help people afford gas, instead of backing off on the gas taxes, they're literally giving out gift cards, $100 gift cards to help people with their bills. Why don't you get rid of some of the taxes? And I don't know. I don't want to go off on politics because I get stuck there sometimes. But it's one of those things. Things are starting to get bad. There are people, who are trying not to let their kids see. Okay, I hear you. Oh, cat, you're so nothing like wet cats. Oh, it's raining. But I lost it. But yeah, things are going to get bad, and there are people who are trying not to let their kids see that. Okay, yeah, the kids ate dinner, but mommy and daddy might have just had a sandwich, already, and we're just in the beginnings of the harshness, and it's worldwide. It's not just one country. So the first aid, the community. I put up. Patrick had posted. I do miss the community part in my already bugged out scenario. Yeah, it is hard when you don't have somebody. I mean, right now I can hop in the car and go visit somebody, but when it gets to the point, I think I'm going to try to transfer some people up here. People always said, well, I know where I'm going if things ever go crazy. I'm going up to Tracy and Wendy's. And Wendy tell them straight out, bring something to trade or bring a skill. We'll welcome you with open arms, but we're just not going to hand out what we've been storing forever.
Yeah.
I mean, I've always seen the bags that they hand out, that they make 72-hour bags just to give to people. Say, listen, we don't have a lot to give you, but here, this will help you on your way. So what about you, Darren?
I think in a lot of these situations, I mean, like you said, The Walking Dead is a show. So
Yeah.
For it to get really, really bad to that point, a lot of things have to go bad.
Yeah.
So if we take a look around the world and throughout history at different stuff, you could look at Lebanon, Venezuela, Mexico, Afghanistan, Ukraine, that kind of stuff, where there have been situations of, the country's gone bankrupt. They've had hunger. They're trading. They've dealt with wars lately, that kind of thing. We've never gotten to the point, I don't think, in any of those countries that I've seen, where people have to bug out, where things have gotten so bad. So for me, it's going to take something extraordinary for that situation to happen. And even then, in my mind, for me, in our location, it's getting together with our neighbors to making sure that, we can help each other. We have the ability to help each other, help protect each other, help grow food, help do some of the chores, help with any medical injuries, help with, everything together as kind of a community in this area. Now, again, that's my situation where I'm located.
Maryland.
But even if we go to, say, a city, that sort of thing, again, I think it's going to take some extraordinary events to happen for people to have to really bug out. Again, even in Venezuela, Lebanon, where they're dealing with stuff right now, Ukraine, we're having people leave and all that, but the people that have left those situations never really bugged out per se. They all had to leave at, like in Ukraine, Russians invaded, you have to leave. Everyone left in hordes. So it wasn't like, someone got prior warning, or maybe they did, but they weren't bugging out on foot into the bush. They left in a vehicle. They wanted to go to a better place. So the whole getting out of Dodge, running off into the bush, to me, is that kind of romantic, looking at it that way, is that kind of romantic dream that, I'm going to be able to survive in the bush and be able to do whatever I need to out there and I'll be okay.
Right.
In reality, you're leaving family, you're leaving community, you're leaving your shelter, you're leaving what you know, you're leaving your food supply, you're leaving safety. So there's so many factors that go into that, so much risk that is going on, that, again, for most people, I think staying in place is going to be a much better option. Yeah. I think in places like, say you're in an apartment building and suddenly you don't have water. It's not something like, as easy for us to get water or them to get water as us to get water. So sure, they might have to leave, but again, bugging out scenario, no, I don't. It's, you might have to leave to go to a hotel or move in with friends and family. Otherwise, it's going to be, that's, I think, in my opinion, a natural disaster or some event that forces a group of people out of their homes in that area. So in that case, you're going to be basically a refugee trying to find somewhere to go, unless you have friends, neighbors, hotel in, out of the danger zone. So
my recommendation to people who might be in an apartment or in a populated area would be, have what you need to stand fast as long as you can. Know how long your resources are going to last. Where your resources are in your area. And also, you might want to have that secondary plan. Maybe not, like you said, it might be, okay, we're going to go to mom's or my brother's or whatever, and yep, we're gonna make it work there.
I just booked a Holiday Inn in the next town over. Let's go.
Yeah.
We're staying there until this is figured out, sort of thing. Right. So to me, it's, and that's not taking into account stuff like hurricanes, tsunamis, right? That kind of thing where, in some cases, like with the hurricanes, you do get a bit of warning, so you can board up your house, you can leave. Again, you're not bugging out into the bush.
That's kind of like you said, it's a romantic notion. Well, my brother Trevor, I love him greatly, but I can live off the land, I can hunt, and that's great. He is an awesome shot. He's a great hunter. He's a wonderful tracker. But now you add into the mix 500 other locals in the same area trying to do the same thing with a finite population of deer.
They might not even be hunting. They might just be walking around.
Yeah.
Deer have gone nocturnal. They're hiding. They're, yeah. They don't just have to be hunting. They can just be out disturbing the area.
Yeah.
The only way I would see something like that being necessary, maybe, is if there was a really bad virus coming out where 90% of the population was dying or something like that.
Yeah.
Then I would see it making sense that you would just want to get out of civilization and go in the
I
middle of.
disagree. I'd be like, I'm staying put. I'm not going to risk leaving my property where I
Yeah,
might go and get infected.
in
To
your
me,
case,
again,
because you have the spot, but I don't have the spot here. So I'm
no.
thinking what
And again, yeah,
I would probably move in with my parents, my brother. They live about 5 minutes from here, next to each other. My dad has a 75-acre land, and I'm thinking that's the only thing that could happen that would make me go live there.
and again,
For
it is
retirement.
all situation and person
Right.
dependent.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Um,
And that's not to say I don't agree with a bug out bag or a get home bag or something like that. I've got my truck stocked, and I
Mhm.
usually keep a go bag kind of thing, but it's to be able to get home in a situation, or
Right.
Yeah, natural disaster.
overcome some situation that might have happened where there's been a traffic jam that lasts longer than I thought it would, or that kind of thing. If I've got a bug out bag or like I'm trying to get home and I have to get out of my vehicle and grab my survival kit and go, if I haven't made it home yet from work and I'm pulling out my fishing line and a hook to fish in the river, something's gone really, really bad.
Really bad. Yeah.
So it's, to me, again, it's situation dependent, person dependent, that
The,
sort of thing. But
the only thing I've seen lately around here that could have caused, an emergency of some sort is about 5 years ago, we had this big freezing rain and people were out of electricity for like 3 or 4 weeks.
Hmm.
The grocery stores were emptied because nobody could get there with the vehicles to deliver the food. And one thing that you would have to think of, and when that happened and got us thinking about it, is you need to warm up your place. You need to stay
yeah,
warm. If you
Yeah.
don't have a wood stove, I don't have a wood stove, you're screwed. And I have an uncle living 2 houses from here. He keeps telling me, if something like that happens, bring your sleeping bags, sleep in the garage at least. You'll have your own place there, and you can do your thing. So it's
yeah,
it's good to have at least that kind of option that if something happens, I just have to walk down the road, like down the street.
yeah.
Unless there's a big forest fire or something like that, I should be fine walking down there in the snow.
Yeah. And that's I think of on Life Below Zero. I just caught up to where COVID had hit, um, and the one family there, they're already nomadic anyway. They go to different areas at different times of the year and live every year. Well, they just said, okay, we're going to go early this year to such and such a camp so that we can fish and stuff like, because they were subsistence.
Yeah.
Now I made it into Life Below Zero, the Northern Territories, and there's a guy. He can't be too far from you, Darren. He's up there a ways, but it's just my goal is that, like, when if something happens, I'm the last to know. My goal is it's not going to affect my life. It's not going to affect my family's life. We can continue doing things as close to normal as possible. Um, being ready, being prepared. Yeah, it's not being afraid.
Yeah.
It's just saying, hey, listen, I live in an area where, okay, this year has been a very light year for us. We used to get snow. They wouldn't cancel school unless you were going to get 3 or 4 foot of snow. Now they cancel school. They're actually giving the kids every Friday off in the month of April because they didn't use all their snow days.
Okay.
We had some weather. They could have canceled school a couple times, but anyway, uh, but but
Whoa.
but the weather is calming down. But that's not saying we can't have a freak storm where I need to have a week, 2 weeks worth of food and toiletries and stuff I need. Um, I mean, I'm already off grid, so the electric going out doesn't affect me so much. But if my electric goes out, if my generators break down or I lose access to gas or can't afford it or whatever, that's going to affect me on dark days like today and yesterday. Um, the thing is to think, okay, what are likely scenarios? And I know we love. I'm the first one for. I love going to The Walking Dead and these apocalyptic end of civilization type movies because they're awesome. They're like, okay, this. Well, not the zombies, but if I was in this situation, I could do this, you know. But in reality, it's kind of like you said. We've already had a taste of things going way bad with that the pandemic, where okay, we need to spend more time at home. Okay, we need to have some services um, back. You know, okay, you might have a propane service that comes in and fills you with propane or fuel oil. You might want to have some extra on hand just in case. Um, let's see. Marilyn says, we had a snow day at my job because our office are in Sejep. When it was closed, we did not have to work, but now we're all set to be able to work from home.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's a whole nother aspect that we need to, okay, I don't care who you are, you're going, you need things from outside, you know.
I think that's the key point is that um, take for most people, I think if they're working on a bug out bag, by all means, do it. Work, do
Absolutely.
that. But do not focus just on that and lose focus on communicating with your neighbors, getting a good group of people with you, preparing other stuff around your house or that sort of thing where, you know, you don't have to leave. So say instead of buying something new, you spend money on an extra wood stove that you can put out in the garage just in case, or something like that, where it's, you know, you're better prepared to stay where you are. It's, to me, that's the big thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was surprised at how easy it was to turn a 55-gallon drum into the burner for the evaporator for my maple syrup. But I was looking at the stove conversion kits for 55-gallon drum. They will put out a lot of heat. And I don't know if I would want one in my living room, but like you said, in the garage or just in a
Put something in the
central area
garage.
where you can bring
Yeah.
it in and put the pipe out the window, you know, safely, you know, but have that in mind for a backup just in case they can't get your fuel to you or whatever.
And I mean, that's a situation where if things are bad enough that you can't actually go to the next town or, you know, a few towns over and stay with a friend or stay with in a hotel or something like that, it's
Pretty much I've been counting on having what I need here on the homestead and building my community around that. But bugging out, man, I mean that's scary in so many ways because now you're exposed. You don't have the security you should have. And I'm not saying we need to build an arsenal like the guys on Doomsday Preppers.
no, but even if you take a look at Mexico, say, for example, with the cartel and the farmers who have been growing avocados. Well, the cartels wanted in on that, so all the farmers are been getting together and create their own villages that they are protecting from the cartel. So it's again, they didn't bug out to leave their farms and find a different spot. They got together, networked, and built a better security system for what they already have.
Yeah. The American Revolution. It took 3% of Americans, the colonists at the time, to defeat one of the strongest armies in the world at one time. And that was just saying, this is my home, this is my family, I've got to protect it. Building the mini farm so it's sustainable. I bet you every channel here that all three of us we can help with that. Well, I'm sure we've got videos on being. No one is truly fully self-sufficient, but we can get. You can get close. It's one of those things. Even the Amish go to Walmart, man. But the thing is to say fresh fruits and vegetables, and I picked that more because it's something we can do something about. I don't have a green thumb, but I'm trying, and one day I'm faking it till I make it, and so that's something that I can produce myself. Everyone has a skill set that they can use. The Amish, yeah, I tell you, they got it going. I don't know how he's doing it, but I went and I talked to my neighbor the other day. He builds sheds, and for some reason he can build me a 12 by 12 chicken coop with windows and roof and everything cheaper than I can buy the lumber from the other Amish guy down the street with the sawmill. And I'm like, okay, not a problem, because buying my lumber and stuff at Lowe's or the regular lumber yards just is way out of the question. Yeah. I can't afford that. Yeah, we can learn from the Amish. And we can, there's so much that we have that we can help them with too. There's certain things I don't know if you know this, but the Amish, they cannot buy a firearm in New York State because they don't have photo ID, because they don't believe in getting their photo taken. Well, up until recently, I believe, they could buy in personal sales. Now we have to, if I wanted to give my shotgun to my brother, we have to go through an FFL and do the paperwork and everything. But that's how they got their firearms, was personal sales. And when things go bad enough that the government's mind is on other things, that might be a possible trade-off. Hey, I can help you with this resource. You teach me this resource, and this community of homesteaders and preppers is an awesome resource. Use YouTube while you can.
Learn as much as you can.
It is just, you got to have the goals. And I mean, it's like this morning. Did I know? And I agreed with everything that Darren said on his video. When I watched it, I'm like, dude, this is awesome. Because, okay, number one, he was standing next to a snowbank that was almost as high as he was. And now you made that just this weekend or this last week, right?
That was yesterday.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
And he showed for his situation, bugging out, especially in the winter, is just not really an option. Not to mention if you say, well, I'm going to hide from someone, even here where in a mild winter when you only have a foot, say, of snow in the woods, dude, you're trackable. You're not gonna hide.
And to me,
Very well.
that's the other thing that people are like, yeah, I can, I'll walk along the roads. Well, if there's a situation where people are coming to take your house, what your belongings, if you're seen on the road by that type of person, what's going to happen? So
Yeah.
you're going to have to go across land, right?
Yeah.
To me, that I don't know.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense to me. I'm going to want to avoid the roads, especially if, okay, say, and I do not advocate for breaking the law, but say,
Here's the thing is, in a lot of these situations, people are talking about, yeah, if everything goes bad and this, and I need to do this. Well, that's against the law. Well, stuff's already hit the fan. It's
yeah. I don't advocate for getting law, but now, however, right now with the say hyperinflation, if you believe in such a thing, comes and all of a sudden you can't afford meat, which I got to tell you, we ain't far from that.
it's getting
But
close for some people, or
okay,
probably a lot of people already.
yeah, all right, and I've got a buck tag in my pocket. Do I still take, do I take a doe? Do I risk that? Because I mean, right now it's just me. I can go for quite a while. Fat man can live on his gut for a long time. But if my grandkids are here, or if they're in need, I'm sorry, but that tag isn't gonna keep me from doing that. It took me like 5 minutes removing my boot in that snow.
And yeah, you were talking about food, and that's one of the things that we briefly touched. But like I keep saying, tomorrow I can lose my job. I don't have $1,000 put aside in emergency fund, and even if I did, that $1,000 is going to last me what? I make more than that bi-weekly, and it's not enough.
Right.
So $1,000 is not going to last me more than a few days. So what I can do though, since it doesn't really cost me much or barely anything, is grow food, gather food, if you go out on a hike, try to find where you can find some wild apple trees. Try to find if you can a place where there's fiddleheads. Try to find a brook where there's trout or other fish. Try to look at those things, and when the legal time comes or the right time comes, go out and harvest as much as you can, because we don't have to. It doesn't have to be a big international catastrophe.
Right.
You could just lose your job and you're screwed. So at least if you have your freezer full of food, you're good to go. That's one less thing to worry about for me.
Yeah.
You feed your children, and that's basically all they need.
And I've got people all the time saying I don't have $1,000 to buy extra food. Well, no, but this next time you go shopping, do you have 69 cents? Buy a can of fruit, buy a can of beans, whatever, buy a little bit extra, specifically with the intention of putting it aside. Then when that snowstorm comes, when that layoff comes, or whatever, you've got a little bit of a buffer, certainly more than you have if you don't buy a little bit extra. And everybody talks rice and beans. Rice and beans are great. They are a staple. They last a long time. But living off just rice and beans, man, you want to make sure you get a little bit of something to mix in it. Take and if you do a ham, pick the bone on the ham. My mom makes broth. If we have a ham or a turkey at any one of our houses, we give the carcass to my mom. She boils it down into a broth, and she would can it up, so it would be ready for us, for her, or if we needed it, she would give it to us, whatever. And that's flavoring. And then you can get the little we canned ham. We bought a ham. We cooked it up. Wendy and I didn't eat much of it, and I still have. Oh my goodness, I've got a lot of quarts of ham, just chunks of ham that I can mix with rice and cheese or whatever. And it doesn't happen overnight. I can't afford. I do not have one piece of freeze dried, specialty ordered survival food. Sorry. um, but over time, we have built up this pantry where I have what I need to last me for a while.
And you just said it. I'm not doing it myself, but now that you mention it, I mean, a can of peas, especially when it's on sale, it's gonna last 2-3 years. And I mean, we're always out. There's no
Yeah.
reason that I can't go and buy like 10 every time I go to the store. It's what's a few extra bucks gonna make? Like, it's not gonna make a difference on my budget at the end of the week. I should
Right.
just go and buy. This week I'm gonna buy beans. Next week I'm gonna buy peas. The week after that, maybe some canned carrots, or even just tomato sauce or tomato soup or whatever. You can do something with it after.
Yeah.
And I know prepping kind of has puts a sour taste in some people's minds, but you don't have to be prepping for World War III. You don't have to be prepping for a solar flare or some of the stuff like is on Doomsday Preppers. Prepping is just, it's a way of life that goes along great with homesteading, because we have to save like our vegetables. Unless we're just going to eat them in the summer and fall, we have to preserve them. It's just a way to say, okay, I have this buffer so that if this goes right, if I get laid off, if the snow comes in, or rain or hurricane,
It's even a buffer if you have a crappy harvest the following year.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah, this last year I missed my harvest. By time I was able to get back in the garden from taking Wendy to the doctors and everything that we had going on, I had seeds. My beans were perfect for saving for seed. So I didn't can any beans this year. I had to buy beans. That's embarrassing because anybody can grow beans. Let's see here.
But you can always use a knife for can opener. I've done it before.
Yeah.
When a ding, forgot it, use a knife.
you can also use a concrete block. Now,
there is a video.
Turn your can upside down and basically
friction.
Yeah. Wear off the metal until the lid pops off.
I've seen it done with a spoon too, where you just go around and around it with a spoon. I have this nifty little thing that they gave us in the Army called a P38 on my key ring. It's always opening up and cutting into my leg, but it's just a little can opener. It takes forever, but man, oh man, it's nice to have when you need it. And be ready for stuff like that. I mean, I have an electric meat cutter, but that doesn't mean I don't have a favorite knife for cutting meat. I have had in the past electric grinders to grind hamburger and stuff. I've also got several grinders that are hand grinders. And this is not stuff that you just go out and say, okay, I'm going to spend $10,000 on getting ready. This is over time being in that mindset and saying, wow, I'm at a garage sale and that guy wants $5 for this. You take $250. There's a guy on YouTube that does that and makes hundreds of thousands of dollars. He goes to garage sales, he sees stuff, he walks out away from the garage sale, goes on eBay, looks it up, and says, this is actually selling right now for this much, makes the guy an offer and makes 1,000% profit. You know, it's garage sales are a homesteader's best friend. That plow that's a decoration in somebody's yard that they're wanting to get rid of is it can be put back to use if it's needed. Heard a story of people giving canned dog food to a homeless for his dog, but he had nothing. Yeah. You gotta think. Like Darren said, just on a concrete block or a sidewalk. You got to be careful, because if you do it too long, I would imagine it would come right undone. But that's just rolled over. You know, it's just that lip rolled over. And that's something that you need to be thinking about now. If you're in the middle of the worst snowstorm Texas has ever seen, a whole 4 inches. Sorry, Texans, I love you. But that's not the time to start thinking about buying a generator, because everybody else is out there buying generators, and the businessman says, cha-ching, I'm going to raise prices, yada, yada, yada. It is, so I think we all agree, as much as you can, your safest bet, I think, would be to bug in or to dig in.
Yep. And just remember, you don't have to live. It may be a little uncomfortable, but you don't have to live the way you're living now.
Right.
There's so many different ways to do stuff. I mean, we've probably forgotten more knowledge than anything. I mean, what was it? I'm just watching one show, and they're doing laundry, but they're using milk, whiskey, and something else to get stains out of a shirt to do laundry. It's like, who knew? Oh, milk, right? Whiskey, and butter to get stains out of laundry, and then basically boil it for a day, and you're good to go. And I'm like, oh, wow, okay. There's some other processes, but I mean, it's like, you don't have to go, oh my God, we're out of power. My laundry machine doesn't work. What am I going to do? I'm lost. How did people do it before?
Yeah.
If you kind of get an idea of how those things used to work, you'll be a lot better off as well. Not saying don't enjoy what we have right now, but a little bit of knowledge goes a long way.
Yeah. Some of the best, easiest cleaning of dishes I've ever done was beside a creek with sand.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what that Malade.
Sick.
It's
French
for like sick for cool.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, we had French and slang put together. Now you're throwing me for a loop.
What was the other thing they did? If garages are built up in Canada and they drop down some insulation before they pour concrete, what you can also use is actually bottles. So all you have to do is put the bottles down and then mix up your lime and stuff to do concrete. And that creates that air pocket to create that insulation layer.
Yeah.
Dogs do an amazing job of cleaning up plates.
They do. I hate to say it, but if you want a turkey carcass picked clean, like say you wanted to make crafts or something out of the bones or whatever, chickens, they will pick a carcass clean now. They don't play.
Yeah, the boys here call Odin, our Basset Hound, the pre-wash cycle for
Yeah.
the dishwasher.
Hell of a day. Yeah, it's something that just with a little bit of going back into our past, we've lost a lot of it because we've got comfortable.
Not only comfortable, but I think it's more efficient in some ways. I want to say
Right.
efficient, but you know,
I've had that discussion before.
Yeah.
but it's like, making, I think that lady that I said was doing the laundry, she was doing it for like a week because that was the process to get the stuff cleaned, dried, ironed. So throwing it in the washing machine for 45 minutes and then in the dryer for 45 minutes, it's a lot more efficient,
Yeah.
a lot more
It
easy.
is.
But,
Yeah,
it comes with a little bit of a different price tag.
that's
Yeah.
what I was going to say. It's easier now, I guess. Everything is made to production.
Yeah.
And nothing is built to last anymore.
No.
It's made to use and replace.
Yeah.
In a lot of cases, it's cheaper to buy a new appliance than to try to fix the old one. But
It's like printers. They make their money on the cartridges rather than the actual printer.
Yeah, you can literally buy a printer at Walmart cheaper than you could buy the color and the black and white cartridges put together.
Yeah.
And that does great for the landfills, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But I moved off grid. I mean, that's our channel saying is off grid in the 21st century. But I still wanted electric lights, which they're off grid, but they're electric lights. However, I'm looking at 1, 2, 3 oil lamps and a candle lamp in the kitchen window in case we need them. Yeah. Redundancies and backups going all the way back. The one thing I was thinking about the other day is with gas prices going so high, what could I do to replace my chainsaw? I need to get a bucking saw. So now I'd probably keel over of a heart attack the first time I used it, but if I recovered from that, then I'd get better and better. But there's stuff we need to think about. Okay, if this efficient way, I have nothing, there's nothing wrong with technology, but if that is no longer available, what do I do? Oil lamps require oil. I watched a video years ago. This guy he took fish guts, put them in a pan, put them over a fire in his yard, boiled them, strained them, boiled them again, strained them, and that liquid was pretty much oil. And he said it didn't smell fishy at all when it burned.
Yeah.
And that just knowing that is something that it blew my mind, because I kept thinking, okay, seal oil, the indigenous peoples up north use seal oil. Down south, the bear fat, different things like that. And then they got where they could get the whale oil and stuff like that. But what did they use, when they couldn't get that stuff?
Well, see, that's it. 'Cause I think a lot of skills got lost along the way because of technology, for one. And like we all said, I mean, there's nothing wrong with the technology, but we must not forget what happened or what was happening in the past. If you go back 500 years ago, people were living here. Maybe they were not living until they were 100 years old. Maybe not. Maybe at some point they were dying and it was probably horrible, but they were still making it. And there was a way for them to live. They didn't get any lemons from California. They didn't get any orange from Mexico. they were living with what they had here. And before, the French people and the English people got here, the native that were here, they were living somehow. So it's possible to do. It might be harder because there's not the same amount of territories, or the forests are getting cut off. The animals are being pushed aside, and making ways for cities and village and stuff like that. But there is still a way to make it work. It's just a matter of finding, like we just said, finding all the different things that we can do and learning as much as we can, really.
Yeah.
'Cause it's doable.
It is very doable. It's harder. I mean, I famous for back when I was, well, this might have been as early as like 10 years ago, saying, why would I read a book? I'll wait till it comes out in the theater, I'll watch the movie. But now I'm trying to collect books because one day internet might not be, I might say, hey, Google, and she's not going to answer because she's going to answer now. I got her volume turned down. No. Oh, apparently I didn't turn my hotspot on. Oh well, but the technology is great, but we need to be informing ourselves because things are going to get bad. And I'm, like I said, I'm not a doomsday prophet or anything like that. I have eyes, and I see cycles and civilizations in the past that have fallen and that are gone downhill, and I'm seeing the same sort of cycles going now, where you have you have such a disjoint between the ruling class and the everyday person, and Marie Antoinette, well, they can't buy bread, let them eat cake. She had no clue what they were going through. And now we do have the modern advances. We know, okay, you need vitamin C, D3, all these things we know that we need. We now know the science behind the herbal remedies. We know the science behind our bodies to a point where I think we can do fairly decent. The problem is it's like you said, being nomadic today and following the food is going to be very problematic because there's just too big of a population unless you're in the Northern Territories or Alaska or Polar Bear, Ontario, whatever. It's for me. Yeah, I got 20 acres, but after that, there's houses down the roads. I got to be careful because they might not like me infringing on their resources. We have seen way more techno update. No wonder we became lazier. Yeah.
Yep.
And it's scary because we literally, I was part of a generation that had no clue what my parents had to do to keep us fed and clothed and all that. And now that I'm old, I'm like, holy cow, Mom, how did you raise 6 kids on what you guys made? And she said, well, honey, that's why we had a garden. That's why Pa hunted almost every day of hunting season trying to get deer.
Yep.
It was tough. Now, Darren, you go live tonight?
Yeah.
What time do you go live?
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. Okay, I don't want to cut into
You didn't go live last week, did you?
No.
Okay.
I might cut back on the lives. I don't know. We'll see.
Oh no, it's so funny when you start getting a little tipsy, and the round tables are still going to be coming though, right?
That's the problem. Is I start getting tipsy, and then I start arguing and start cutting people off, and start, hey, look at me. So.
And yeah, roundtable is fun also. Next one is on the 22nd.
The 22nd. Okay. Yeah, don't miss the roundtables. They discuss all sorts of stuff. You know what you're discussing yet on that one, or?
Nope, I have no clue. It's my turn to host, and I have no clue. It's gonna be a last minute decision, or topic's gonna come up in one of Darren's video, and I'm gonna do like you.
Yeah, steal from Darren. That's what I did.
Hey, everyone does it. It's like, like a Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah, there you go. I was considering changing the name of my channel to Loki, or something like that, but I couldn't pull it off. I just couldn't do it. But yeah, so I'm trying to think. Did we go in depth on this at all, or to you guys said, because this is something that I think people need to really think about is, okay, maybe it's not an EMP and the electric grid goes down. Maybe it's not without rule of law. Maybe it's just prices of everything are so high, I can't afford to purchase goods for my family. And how am I going to how am I going to supplement that for my family?
Again, we look at Venezuela, Lebanon, that sort of stuff, and people are going back to trading, going back to skills that they did before, that sort of thing. So to me, I don't think, looking at stuff in other countries, looking at history, I don't think anything's going to get really that bad. We'll have to take a few steps backwards. We'll have to be satisfied with a little less, have to do a little more work, that kind of thing, in my opinion anyway.
Yeah. I think the people that are going to be affected most are the people that are farthest away from the origin of their food. The people in the cities, when how we got pasteurized milk was people started congregating in the cities, so they moved the cows into the cities. Well, they didn't have the grass to feed the cows to make the milk, so they started giving them waste from the factories and corn. Well, corn and some of the waste is poisonous to cows. Cows are designed to make green grass into white milk, and the cows couldn't make good white milk from what they were being fed, and so they had to begin pasteurizing the milk, because you were literally poisoning yourself drinking raw milk. So that's one of the reasons down here. I know there's a place down the road here that they sell raw milk, but every month they have an inspector come and randomly inspect their cattle and make sure that, okay, if there's a sick cow or something, he is set aside and isolated and stuff like that.
Pigs will eat everything. Doesn't mean they should.
Right. Yeah, Patrick, let us know your channel. I'd be interested in that. I want to support this community as much as possible because, man, I think I was telling Remy that a lot of sometimes I get bored with making videos because it does add a whole new level to the work or to whatever you're doing. But then it is encouraging me to do more and to get better because people are starting to ask me questions on gardening and off grid and stuff like that, and I need to be able to answer those questions, and I need to gain that experience, and I don't want to pretend I'm something I'm not, because like I said, I think it's 22 minutes in the summer from my door to Walmart. It's a little longer than that because I have to go out and around in the winter because I live on it. My road turns into a snowmobile trail, and they wouldn't be happy if I plowed the whole thing. But all right, so yeah, unless you guys can think of anything else, we'll go ahead and let Darren go ahead and get ready for his live. We'll head over there here in a little bit. And guys, thanks for coming. Thanks for being a part of this.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, pleasure.
Anytime. I'll tell you the same thing I told Remy and Annie. Open invitation. Anytime you see me live and you want to drop in, just ask. I'll send you the link. That's not a problem. And Mary Lynn, thank you for being moderator. Me and You Acres has a premiere at 7:30. Ooh.
Yes. It's true. I thought it was, yeah.
Okay.
Thought it was 30 minutes ago. I'll go watch that, and then I'll go get ready for Darren's live.
Sounds like a plan. All right. You guys have a great night, and thank you everybody for coming. Remember, the girls don't find you handsome, let them find you handy. Sorry, that's red green. I love red green. All right. Y'all have a good night, and God bless.
Thank you, everyone.
Take care.